So spring is finally here after a hard, cold winter, and that means one thing: fishing pellets. It's a super cheap, easy bait to fish, and I'm going to show you exactly how to fish it. First thing with soft pellet fishing is obviously the bait. Now it couldn't be any easier. I've literally got a bag of fishery micros and some 4mm expanders. Now this is the only bait you really need for this type of fishing. It's dead easy and cheap. So I'm going to actually show you how to prepare the bait, and it's really simple. First of all, micro pellets. So I've just got some fishery micros here today. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to probably do half a pint. And like I say, this time of year you really don't need a lot. It's really cheap, simple fishing. So I'm going to literally put the bag a bit more, half a pint of fishery micros in there, like that, and to the side. And then preparation wise, there is actually a few ways you can do micro pellets, but I'll keep it really simple. So I just literally put some water in the pellets, so they're just covering the pellets, so they're almost like level. And we'll actually do a close-up of this. So they're basically level with the water, and the pellets are actually level. And all I do is I literally put them to the side, give them sort of half an hour, and then I'll get a tub, chuck them in a tub, air them out, and they'll be absolutely perfect, which we'll show you in a bit. Coming to my expander pellets, what we need for this, we actually need a pellet pump. So in today's case, we've just got a Ringer's pellet pump. It's a great pellet pump and does the job. So another thing, really, obviously, it's really important is your expander pellets. You need a good batch of expanders. That's going to be nice and rubbery on stay on the hook really well as well, which is really important with this type of fishing, because obviously if your pellet's not very good, you're striking and the pellet will be coming off all the time, and it just makes your day a lot more stressful. So in today's case, we've got some Swim Stim 4mm Pro expanders, which are a really good pellet. And to prepare these, it's really simple. I just get my pellet pump, open it up. You don't need many expanders, so literally I just take a handful out of my bag like that, put them straight into the pellet pump, and that'll do you all day. That's absolutely plenty. And that's another reason why it's a cheap way of fishing, because your expander pellets, you literally need a handful each time, and that'll do you plenty. And a bag like that will pretty much last you a season, to be honest. And basically just put the lid on like, screw the lid on like that. Water wise, now this is the bit you need to get right. So you want as much water in the pellet pump as you can. If there's any gap between the top and the water, obviously the pellet pump's not doing its job. You need to be no water, no air in that pellet pump at all. Put your lid on like that. One pump, most of them go down, but I like to give it 2 or 3 just to make sure all the pellets go down. Like that. So all the pellets have gone down, and they're ready to go. So what I do is get another bait tub, and I actually like to leave them in the water because it makes them nice and soft and they don't sort of go crumbly or lose the texture. So drain all the water off, put them in my bait tub, and within sort of 15-20 minutes they'll start coming round and they'll be perfect to put on the hook. So it's dead simple. Got them soaking like that, got them ready, and then I can just set my tackle up and crack on, get ready for my session. There's a few things you can actually do with expanders. Now this is your plain expanders, what they look like. As you can see, nice soft drawable pellets which are perfect for the hook, which F1s and all sorts of fish absolutely love. But you also can add colourings. So in today's case, the pellets sort of got, the fishery pellets have actually got like sort of an orangey sort of tinge to them. So all I've done is I've added some of this dynamite shot liquid, which is like an orangey colour, which sort of matches the fishery pellets to a certain extent, but it also gives me a different option of hook bait colour. As we all know, like when we're fishing on a method feeder or a feeder, you know, your wafters and stuff like that, colours can be massive, so it's no different with expander fishing. So I've added this colour to the pellets, as you can see we've got like a nice orangey sort of expander pellet, which is another good, obviously, option for hook baits. So bait's dead simple, dead cheap, and let's go and catch some fish. So that's all the bait preparation done. I'm just going to talk about now when sort of you want to fish the bait, really. So certain times of the year pellets really come into their own, and probably the best I'd say for pellet fishing is in the spring. So after a long cold hard winter, when the fish first wake up, the pellets just seem to be a bait that sort of really like enjoy eating. And a bit of a clue of when to actually fish pellets is when the water first just starts to colour up a bit. As you can see, we've got another fish on. When that water just first colours up a bit, that's normally a bit of a telltale sign that pellets are going to be the bait. And actually, where you're fishing when you peg though is really important. A nice F1. Where you fish them in your peg is important. I sort of believe that you're always better off fishing pellets in shallower water. So, i.e. anything from sort of realistically 18 inches up to 4 foot. I think any deeper in this, and sort of soft pellets anyway, lose their effectiveness. So I think in an ideal world, that's the sort of depths you'd want to be targeting soft pellets. And I always believe fishing to a feature of some sort, they work better. So in today's case, as you can see, down my right hand margin, I've got some reeds, which is a nice bit of cover for the fish. So this time here, fish like cover. I just think fishing pellets to cover, it just works hand in hand, because so the fish want to eat the pellets, but they also feel safe sitting in the actual cover itself. And also in this swim I'm fishing today, I've actually got like a sunken bar, which is about 14 metres into the lake. This shallows up to sort of just over 3 foot of water, so probably 3.5 foot of water. And again, that's another great place to sort of target pellets. I mean, you could obviously, if you wanted to on your pleasure session or your match, start in the deep water, which is obviously top kitting 2, top kitting 3, but it's sort of like 5 or 6 foot, and catching a weight on soft pellets there, you'll catch a few fish, yes, but catching a big weight of fish, it's hard in that depth of water because it's so deep, the fish always want to come off bottom. So fishing pellets in shallower water, like I say, anything from 18 inches up to sort of 4 foot, I'd probably say is the maximum you want to fish it. It just works better because the pellets get to the bottom better and you just fish more effectively, so the fish are not coming off the bottom, being scatty and stuff like that. So always fishing in shallower water if you can is better. I mean, when I say 18 inches to 4 foot, obviously that's weather dependent. So this time of year, for example in March, I was thinking a perfect sort of depth to fish pellets in is sort of from 2 foot all the way up to sort of, well, 2 foot to sort of 3.5 foot is a great starting depth for fishing pellets this time of year. It's a sort of depth where the fish feel sort of confident and safe in, and it's also a depth where the pellets sink nicely to the bottom and you can control the fish, making sure they're not coming off bottom or being too scatty. Like I say, when it even gets a bit warmer, so obviously it could actually warm up quite a lot in March or April, and then you obviously can go down to 18 inches of water. It's all about reading where the fish want to be. And another sign of if you're not in the right depth of water, if you're getting indications and you can't catch the fish, come into shallow water. So for example, say I'm fishing in 3 foot, I'm getting line as indications, foul lookers, come up to 2 foot. And then, like I say, you might get some clean bites, start catching fish because you're in the right depth. So that's another good sign. And then obviously you can also go backwards on that. So if you're fishing in 2 foot of water, not getting any bites, going to 3 foot of water, and just by sort of sticking to that guide, that's a good way of sort of starting with soft pellets. And like I say, fishing to features for me is always the best way to use them. So that's the sort of areas in the swim I target, and I think it's the best way to do it. So there's another nice F1 caught down the margins. As you can see, the hook is in its top lip, which means perfect presentation. So now we're going to show you the rigs that we're using. So rigs for pellet fishing are really simple. So we'll start off with elastic. In today's case, I've got an orange zip elastic in a short kit, which is absolutely perfect for F1s. Elastic wise, it also depends on where you're fishing, what size of fish you're fishing for, so that's all venue dependent. But for me, for F1s, orange zip in a short kit is absolutely perfect. Main line, I've got 0.165 main line, nice drawable line, but also not too heavy where it's going to affect my presentation. Float wise, I've got Cypri. Perfect float for fishing soft pellets. I've got a 1.75mm tip, which I can see nice and visually, but also can dot it down, which is what you want for pellets. Really good float for that. Also, another thing touching on the float, I've got a wire stem. Obviously offers stability, which is exactly what you want for soft pellet fishing. And actually talking about float size, it also depends on the situation you face with. So I sort of say if I'm fishing around 2 foot of water, I go for a 4x10. Anything from 2 to 3 foot, 4x12, and anything from 3 foot to sort of 4 foot plus, I use a 4x14. Keep it really, really simple. Coming on to the shotting pattern, I've just got a strung bulk. Again, every size of float I use, I always use a strung bulk. It's nice and positive, and it does the job. It works, that's the main thing. Now, coming on to the really important bit, which is the hook link. I've got a 4-inch hook link, and that's really important because if you use any longer, the bites wouldn't be as positive, because there's actually not a lot of weight in the expander pellet, so you need a shot close to your hook to show that bite up nice and positive. And I've actually got 4 inches of 0.12/8 hook link material, coming on to a size 16 Guru F1 pellet hook, which is perfect for a 4mm expander. Now let's go and catch some fish. So feeding is obviously important with any type of fishing, and with soft pellet fishing it's no different. How I actually like to start off my session when feeding soft pellets is using a sprinkle lid. Now what I do is I just put a pinch of pellets into my little pole cup and use a sprinkle type lid that comes with it. The reason I like to use a sprinkle lid is because the pellets fall at different speeds, and I think it's just more attractive for fish. And as you can see, we just sprinkled some pellets and caught a fish straight away. Obviously, if you're catching, great, continue doing it, but there'll be times where you get line bites and foul lookers, and this is actually when you need to change how you feed. Now what I would do is I'd actually start doing what we call clumping it in. So what I'd do is I'd simply take the lid off the pot, put my pellets into the pot and just thumb them down, and basically I'd tap them in. So what would happen is all them pellets come out at all at the same time and sink at the same speed, meaning the pellets can actually get to the bottom faster, and this can actually make the fish sort of almost force them down on the bottom, which is obviously in turn makes them easier to catch. So the most important thing about soft pellet fishing is feeding with pots. So let's look at them in more detail.
Sorry for interrupting your video, everyone, and I just want to take a moment to ask you to please subscribe to the Nufish YouTube channel. We produce all this amazing content. It's totally free, doesn't cost you a penny to subscribe. We've got loads of stuff coming, we've got loads of stuff planned for the future, and we've got an absolute massive library of content there for you. Sam is doing a great job today explaining his soft pellet fishing, all for free. So do us a favour, click that subscribe button and carry on enjoying the video.
Now, obviously I've talked about the two different ways of feeding with a pole pot, so I'm just going to show you in sort of closer detail now exactly how it works. So first of all, we've got the sprinkle lid and the sprinkle pot. So I actually use a slightly taller pot for this because obviously when I'm shipping out with the pellets, it's obviously got less chance of bouncing out. So I've actually got a medium guru pot, which is, I think, is good for this. And all I do is I've just got like a little lid with holes in it. And all I do when I'm shipping out, this is exactly how I'll start my session. Get a pinch of pellets like that, straight into the pot. And basically when I get to my spot, I'll sprinkle the pellets in like that. And as you can see, it creates a bit more of an area. And it's probably more attraction when it's falling through the water. And that's how I start. But it actually can become an issue where you get too many fish in your peg, or they're coming off the bottom and you're having a bit of a nightmare. So this is when you've got to change your pot. So what I'll do is I'll use a slightly smaller pot like that. Now I'll do what we call clumping. So what I'll do is I'll fill my pot up like that, thumb it in, so that's not going to come out when you're shipping out. And what I'll do is ship out, just dump my pot under the water, then pellets will fall out, come into a nice little pile, and hopefully pin them fish to the bottom. So they're my two different pots. That's how I feed soft pellets. So one of the bad things about soft pellets is obviously they're soft, so they can come off your hook. So hooking them is really important. So when I actually hook them, the best way to do it is actually around the side of the pellet. So I'll actually do a little close-up video so you can see it. So when I've actually got my pellet, I'm not hooking it through the flat bit. That's wrong, because when I hook it through there, the pellet tends to often come off. So it's all about hooking it through the round bit. So what I do is, I've basically got a 16 hook, which is about right for the size of the pellet, as it grips the pellet as well. So I just bury that into the pellet. Like I say, I'm going to do a close-up so you can see. And just roll it on and get as much of the hook into the pellet as you can, but make sure that hook point is out. And that should stay on for 3 or 4 lifts before it probably comes off. So that's hooking the pellet. It's simple, but that's one of the most important things for getting soft pellet fishing right. So plumbing up when you're soft pellet fishing is something you must get right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ship to the spot I'm fishing and show you exactly what I'm looking for. So first thing is a plummet, nice 30 gram plummet, which is really important, nice and heavy so you get a true reading of the bottom. And then where I'm fishing today, which you'll see in a second, is I'm looking for like a nice little flat spot. So if I just drop my plummet in here, there, if you can see me float, if I just move that to the right as I'm getting close to the bank, it's nice and flat, which I think is really important, as it's like a little dinner plate for the fish to feed on. Now I actually plumb up for soft pellets is I like to sort of plumb up to the middle of my body. So as I drop it in there now, that just seems a nice amount of line on the bottom to register a nice positive bite, and you don't seem to miss too many bites. So middle of the body like that, a nice flat spot, which is absolutely perfect for soft pellet fishing. So that's plumbing up, dead easy, and if you follow that sort of guide to plumbing up, you're not going to go far wrong. So that's all the fine details out of the way. Let's catch one more fish and show you exactly the process of doing it. So expander on the hook, and put some pellets in my pot, and I've actually just changed to clumping the bait in now, my little pot, because the fish were coming off the bottom, started to go a bit crazy because the fishing's been good today. So I've just started put my little pile in a clump, and it's sort of settled the fish down a bit. So simple, it's really simple. Ship the pole to my location where I'm fishing. I'm just going to dump my pot in the water. I'll give it a few seconds, and then pellets will just come out the pot nicely. Lift my rig up. Basically, I'm letting my rig straighten, so my stem's straight now. Put my float down, and that's my trap set. Keep everything still as you can, and you basically wait for a bite, like that. And another thing to point out with pellets is, if it's going to work on the day, you normally get an instant response with pellets. So if you've say been fishing half an hour, 40 minutes, you've had no bites, that's the time to change to other baits. Pellets is quite an instant bait, and if it's going to work, you'll generally know quite quick. So that's another good little tip. And like I say, we've had a brilliant day catching plenty of F1s like this. And this orange zip's been absolutely perfect because the fish are starting to wake up. It's a lovely F1 to end the day on. They're your sort of bread and butter fish when you're fishing pellets, sort of £1.5 F1s around that mark and in the top lip, which means absolutely perfect presentation. So slip him in the net. I hope you've enjoyed the video. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the Nufish YouTube channel, Tight Lines.